I'll never forget the night I first heard it. A low, deliberate knocking that seemed to come from inside the walls of my apartment. At first, I thought it was just the pipes or the wind. But as the knocking continued, I realized it was something much more sinister. It started as a gentle tap, almost imperceptible, but grew louder and more insistent over time. I tried to ignore it, to tell myself it was just my imagination. But the sound seemed to seep into my bones, making my skin crawl. I lived alone in a small studio apartment, and the knocking made me feel like I wasn't alone. I began to feel like I was being watched, like unblinking eyes were trained on me from the shadows. I tried to distract myself with TV, with books, with anything. But the knocking was always there, a constant reminder that something was off. I started to vary my routine, trying to see if the knocking would follow me from room to room. It did. I'd be cooking in the kitchen, and the knocking would start in the living room. I'd move to the bedroom, and it would start in the kitchen. It was as if whatever was making the noise was following me, toying with me. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. The knocking grew louder, more intense, and I could feel the vibrations of it through the soles of my feet. I knew I had to do something, so I decided to investigate further. I grabbed a flashlight and began to search my apartment, looking for any sign of what could be causing the knocking. I checked the walls, the floors, the ceilings, but I couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. It was as if the knocking was coming from inside the walls themselves. And then, one night, I heard my name. It was a low, raspy voice, and it seemed to come from all around me. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking. There was no response, just the knocking, which had grown even louder. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead as I realized that I was not alone. Whatever was making the noise, it knew my name. I tried to call for help, but my phone was dead, and I was alone in the apartment. The knocking grew louder, more intense, and I felt myself being pulled towards it. I followed the sound to the wall in my bedroom, and as I pressed my ear against it, I heard the voice again. This time, it was louder, clearer. "Let me out," it said. I stumbled backward, tripping over my own feet. As I fell, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The wall, which had seemed so solid just moments before, was now cracked and splintered. And from the crack, a hand was emerging. It was a bony, emaciated hand, with fingers that seemed to be reaching out to me. I screamed, but my voice was drowned out by the knocking, which had grown so loud it was almost deafening. And then, everything went black. When I came to, I was lying on the floor, my head throbbing. The knocking had stopped, and the room was silent. But as I looked up at the wall, I saw that the crack was still there, and the hand was still emerging. It was then that I realized the horrifying truth. I had been the one making the knocking all along. The voice, the hand, it was all me. Or at least, some part of me that I didn't know existed. I was the one who had been trapped inside the walls, trying to get out. And now, I'm not sure what's real and what's not. The knocking has stopped, but I can still feel the presence, lurking just beneath the surface. I'm not sure how much longer I can hold on to my sanity. The darkness is closing in, and I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to escape.